Good evening and welcome to the Invictus Racing League. This is the top tier of the Eco Performance tier number 1, and we come for round number 7. And we're staying stateside in terms of sort of side of the globe, but we're in Canada for the Canadian Grand Prix at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. My name is JPH, and joining me as always in the commentary box is Bruce Lee Harding. Good evening, Bruce. How are you?
Yeah, good evening to you, Pete. Yeah, as you say, still stateside. Just moved slightly north of the border from Vegas up to Canada. So yeah, a great circuit. This pretty slippy in recent times, especially on this game. So yeah, it could be quite an interesting race to see how everyone adapts to the difficulty of the changing grip surface.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we found out last night, as you say, little grip. And track limit penalties are going to be something that is talked about through pretty much 99% of this race.
Yeah, exactly that. As you say, last night we saw many penalties, and they can mount up pretty quickly. In fact, I think there's possibly only maybe 2 drivers last night out of the 19 that didn't have penalties. So yeah, it can be critical to getting a good result in the race. But yeah, it's just very tricky. It's very easy to just slightly overstep that line, and sometimes hard to tell exactly where you've overstepped the line, because it's quite a sort of a very sort of fine margin really as to whether or not you do breach that track limit.
Yeah, and the problem is once you start doing them, it's very hard to stop. Especially if you're in one particular area, it's very hard to stop yourself from going over that sort of limit when they're so tight.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I think one of the things is when you do get those warnings is to not let it get to you too much. You can easily turn it from one track limit to 2 to 3 just by not keeping a level head. So yeah, just a bit of sort of consistency, patience, and maybe a bit of a good temperament is required tonight for an excellent result.
So we're going to go on board with Faz here for his first lap of qualifying. Across the line, keep it to the right hand side, hit the brakes for turn number 1, third for the second corner. Just try and get the grip coming out as you come up the hill, over the crest and towards turn number 3. 3 and 4 flick right left chicane, 5 and 6 again absolutely flat through here, and then into 7. That's just 5, 6 and 7 here. Obviously famous when Vettel ran wide and Button won that unbelievable Canadian Grand Prix, I think in 2010. Down towards turns 8 and 9, very difficult because of the curve. It can launch you wide a little bit and easy to overstep the mark. Down towards the turn 10 hairpin. A little lock up on the front right from Faz, but he's got it stopped in time. 11 is just that little kink left. Through 12 as we hit the DRS zone on the back straight. Gonna get a nice little toe here from, I think that's a Sauber up ahead of us. So we head into the 13 and 14 chicane. You take more curb on the right than the left. And normally you keep it to the right hand side for the shortest run to the line, but Faz is going to take the slipstream, and he's currently 4th place. Destiny on pole position with a 109.3.
Yeah, good stuff there from Destiny to start. Yeah, Alex was just behind the fans actually, and if anything, probably a little bit too close as he now dives out of the way and dives out of the way a little bit too much and takes the Haas with him down the escape road at turn 3. But yeah, maybe Alex maybe a little bit too close to Faz and distracted a couple of times perhaps following the racing the Williams. But yeah, still nevertheless does get a top 3 time currently in the racing pool.
Yeah, good stuff from Alex. Brando puts in a 111.9, but I did notice he didn't have his ERS on, so I do wonder if he's gone for the trick of a second sort of lap, as Joe Hamster has invalidated his latest attempt. Scopefielder on a lap as well. In fact, most of the field on laps. It's just a question of who's coming across the line next. I think it's going to be Ashtube in the Sauber.
Yeah, tricky at this point of qualifying to know exactly who's doing what. Really, it's such a short circuit with so many cars on track, and it's great to see so many cars on the track tonight with nearly a full grid of cars. Can be tricky to keep up with what everyone's getting up to, but yeah, currently on board with Ryan. He is behind a Red Bull, gets a nice slipstream now coming onto the final straight as he approaches the final corner.
So to the final chicane for Ryan. What can he do on this first attempt? Using all the battery he can up towards the line. Didn't use all of it though, and is on 1:11.0 to put himself 10th, and just behind his teammate who done that time on a set of medium tyres. So that's a interesting insight there to what sort of pace Ashtube might be able to produce when he goes on to the set of softs.
Yeah, definitely. Interesting that Ryan maybe didn't quite get the final chicane 100% right. It's a weird one, that final chicane, especially in these conditions. I say these conditions, there's a pretty horrible set of shadows across the circuit. Quite hard to pick your braking point, really, for the chicane because of them. And yeah, basically, it's a strange chicane in that sometimes the best way to take it is almost feeling like you've outbraked yourself. The amount of sort of speed you can carry through it, as Joe Hamster retires from the session, coming out of the final chicane. So he's lost the back end there clearly, trying to get on board with someone who's coming down. But I think most people are coming in the
Sydney
pits.
just had a spin coming into the pit lane. That was interesting.
But yeah, it's an interesting one. Sometimes you feel you can outbrake yourself. You've outbraked yourself a little bit, but you can actually get through there with quite a sensational amount of speed. But again, when you do hit it like super fast, it is easy to invalidate, as Gottspook goes to the top of the timesheets with a 1:09.0.
So then Red Bull on pole position for now. We've got Ivan, who's just gone into 12th. We've got Gattuso on an out lap. Keza is on a flying lap as he's heading into the turn 10 hairpin. Getting to Keza, he did write evening to us in the chat. Also, Ren's also in the chat for the live stream, so he's got a nice night. I'm not quite sure where he's got quite this sort of grammar, but he's a nice tea of hot cup. And he's saying it should be a good one. So as Keza abandons that first lap into the pits, Gattuso will go on to start his next flying lap. Who else have we got out there? JP. He is on a lap slightly quicker, and Ryan's also on a lap. Where's Jack 2? He is on a lap but further back. So it's going to be Ryan followed by JP. The next couple of cars across the line. Most of these guys doing a second lap on this set. Obviously, it's quite a short lap, and whilst tyre wear, as we found out, is quite high, obviously you can, in qualifying, because of the low fuel loads, get away with running 2 hot laps on the soft tyres.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen last night the rear tyres do overheat quite a lot at this circuit. So when you're running those soft tyres with a higher fuel load, they do burn up pretty quick, and they pretty much become garbage after about 3 or 4 laps, to be honest. But yeah, as you say, lower fuel, you can get away with it in qualifying to run those extra laps. Interesting to see Merck struggling again down in 7th, but yeah, I'm sure he'll throw in a pretty special lap at some point during this quali session.
Yeah, he's normally good for a bit of a last gasp lap, is Merckx, but I mean, he has been quite open saying that he has really, he struggled a little bit with qualifying, and JP just spun on his way back into the pit. But yeah, he has struggled with qualifying this season in terms of, normally you'd expect him on sort of the front row, and he's been starting around second or third row, I think, on average. So, but ultimately the points come in the race, and that's where he's strong.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got that consistency, that race pace consistency, and as you say, that's what's really important. And more than anything, I think the one thing we have noticed with Merckx, when he has been in these positions that he's not normally in, as Ashtube throws it into the final chicane. Excellent work there from the Kick-Saber driver, and he goes up to only 12th for Ashtube on his first run on the soft, so a bit of a surprise. Looks to be going well, but yeah, Merckx seems to have a good racing brain in that he can almost manipulate things in front of him to help him. So he's quite good at that. That sort of adding that pressure and just thinking not just what's happening in front of him there and then, but maybe thinking a few laps ahead.
Yeah, as we watch Alex, currently in 6th at the moment in the RB. He's heading towards the final sector of the lap, and he's 4/10 quicker at the moment, which would put him on a 109.2, putting him on the front row provisionally if he can keep this pace up.
Yeah, fingers crossed he can keep that going. I'm currently on board with Malc, 2/10 up at the first sector. So yeah, he's looking to improve already.
Alex up to the line in the RB. What's it going to be? It's going to be a 109.5. And I've got a feeling he maybe used his ERS a little bit too much during the lap, because he had not enough really at the end to go from the final chicane to the line on overtake mode in that lap. So I think that's maybe where he lost a bit of time there.
Yeah, it's critical, isn't it? The way you use the ERS in this. Malc is 6/10 up at the moment. He could well be heading to the front row, if not provisional pole position.
So what can the Mercedes driver do? It's a 108.7 and provisional pole position. And it's fair to say that qualifying form is starting to come back. He sets a blistering time for everyone else to aim for.
Yeah, it's great stuff there from him. It's getting a little bit busy out there with cars on out laps and in laps, and quite a mishmash of what everyone's up to right now at the moment. Quite a few people sat in the pits waiting for their final runs, but yeah, just trying to go on board with someone that may be on a lap, but I think, yeah, no, I think Dipper's done as well.
Ivan's coming up to the line to, I think, start his next flying attempt. Currently in 15th is Ivan, a 110.7. Driver you maybe would expect to be a little bit higher, but obviously the quality this season has been quite high with the drivers that have come in. So I mean, it's quite a tough season for the likes of Ivan, who have come back up to Tier 1.
Yeah, no, absolutely, 100% right there, JPH. Yeah, it's a very, very competitive tier, this one this season. Indeed, I think even Tier 2 this season is very competitive. You know, we've got people from Tier 3 up into Tier 2 this year, and it's yeah, it's providing a challenge for most people. But yeah, in this tier in particular, you know, you've got your usual guys at the front end, but to be honest, there's any one of these guys could easily get a podium during the season, and yeah, I think that's great for us to watch, great for everyone else to watch, and yeah, hopefully for the guys on track, that gives them some entertainment too.
As Ivan comes up to the start finish, it shows you just how short this lap is. One small point, and Ivan already at the end of his lap. 14th with a 110.1. I mean, that was 6/10 faster than his previous, and he'd gone up one position. But he's only 1.4 away from Malc, and in reality, that's quite a big achievement.
Yes, no, definitely, 100%. Jack is improving as well. He's invalidated the final chicane there, I think. So, or actually, no, sorry, he may have actually invalidated previous to that, and he's now having another attack now. So yeah, I think that is the case. He's got quite a lot of ERS still available to him. So yeah, let's see how Jack gets on here. See if he can get himself up the list a little bit.
I believe JP91 just set a time to go 4th quickest, or 109.3. So it's good to see JP back with his sort of the pace we know he's got.
Yeah, JP, he's had a few instances, I think, this season, hasn't he? Especially when he's been in a good position. Suzuka, wasn't there? He was, I believe, leading. Sorry, he was second on road, wasn't he, at the safety car restart, and then spun immediately. So he's been in positions to get results this season, but maybe things not quite gone his way. Also, Scopefielder, currently in an excellent 5th place for him. Did a couple of Tier 2 races, I think, earlier on this season, and was swiftly moved up to Tier 1 despite a fairly long absence. And yeah, he's doing a great job at the moment there in the Alpine.
Yeah, Jack got it all locked up going into the turn 10 hairpin. So we'll see if that cost him any time, but it definitely wasn't an ideal hairpin for him. He's going to finish the lap. It's going to be a 109.5, so a touch faster, but I think he lost a fair bit of time in that hairpin, just getting all locked up and crossed up. The question is, will
Yeah,
he have enough
he's.
time to get round and come back in the pits?
I think it's going to be a struggle. He's clearly pushing very hard, nearly bins it actually there at that first game, but yeah, clips the wall as well. So he's definitely in a hurry to get back. But I think, to be honest, by the time he gets wheeled back in by the incredibly pedestrian pit crew, and in fact, I think he's stopped pushing now because I think he's probably realised. In fact, actually, he may have run out of fuel. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, he is. Oh, he's just cut the corner, which you don't normally allowed to do. But
I,
he,
th- yeah, I think in this case it's going to be fairly irrelevant. He's not going to get back in time, is he, anyway? So as he locks the rears, pushing hard even though his car doesn't want to go any faster than about 60 miles an hour.
he's managed to make it up to 100, so he's not quite as pedestrian as we think. But yeah, I think definitely running out of fuel for the Haas.
Louis 3 tenths up after sector 1, 2 tenths now after sector 2, so he's dropped a bit in that middle sector. Be interested to see now if he can keep these couple of tenths, and that'll boost him up potentially up to third place if he can keep this pace going.
Up to the final chicane for the Ferrari driver Louis, who's been mighty impressive this season with his turn of pace. The driver that's been going up the tiers in IRL for the past 4 seasons puts himself third on the grid at 109.1. He's put it in there with the likes of Got Spooked and Destiny. We've also got Brando Camalango, who is right down the order right now. So it'll be interesting to see what he can achieve on his final lap. Obviously last week he finished second on the road, but I think fell to about 9th because he had 15 seconds of penalties in the bank before he started the race. So he'll be hoping for a slightly nicer race this time.
Yeah, definitely. Fingers crossed he does have a good one as well. Faz currently 10th up on his best time as well. Faz also, worth noting, he raced with us in Tier 3 last season, so showing exactly how well he's come on since then in the space of just a few months. Manages to work his way up to Tier 1 and is pushing middle of the pack, gets a nice little slipstream very, very close. So I think that was his teammate as he comes up to the final chicane. See what he can do. And he can invalidate his lap, and he almost, yeah,
absolutely crunches the wall of champions, does Faz. Otherwise known for anyone who may not remember Faz, otherwise known as Devis Ucalo. But yeah, the wall of champions. We'll say the wall of champions has claimed again. And yes. Brando Camalango joins the party now in qualifying, second place at 108.9. Got spooked 2 tenths up as well after sector 2, but he just invalidates through the 8-9 chicane.
Yeah, so we got spooked. I don't know if he's got enough time. I've got constant yellow flags at the moment, so yeah, no, he's not got enough time. Merckx has started his a flying lap, so he's obviously not 100% comfortable with his time. It's good enough. But you'd have to say we've got spooked doing that, Brando having just set his lap. We're running out of potential contenders at that front end, I think.
Yeah, JP911 was about a tenth and a half up coming into the final sector. Through the chicane he goes. What can he achieve as he heads towards the line? So 109.1, 4th place for the Mercedes so far.
Yeah, great effort from JP there, backing up his teammate there at the front end of the field as well. So that's great news for the Mercedes team, who have a pretty significant lead, I believe, in the constructors. Gattuso may have just invalidated by clipping the wall, actually. I've noticed that it can happen. So he's hit the wall of champions, got away with it, a little less spectacular than Faz, but yeah, that's his qualifying done.
And Merckx into the pits, I think, and retired. Keza goes 17th on to finish his qualifying. Ryan decides to go for the Dukes of Hazzard line through the final chicane to end his qualifying, but it is going to be Merckx on pole position, Brando third, and Beyond the Bow at the end puts himself in the top 3 by 0.005 of a second to Got Spooked.
Yeah, nice stealthy lap time that from Beyond the Bow. We didn't quite see that one, but yeah, excellent work from the Haas driver. And yeah, it's great to see him up there as well. Obviously, he's not raced as much of this season as he has in the past, but brilliant to see him up there. But yeah, an excellent qualifying. That is quite a lot happening.
Yeah, good to see. Obviously, this track being so short in time and length, never going to keep up with everything. We kept up with as much as we could around there, but Bruce, you want to let us know what the grid is for the Canadian Grand Prix?
I will indeed let you know what the grid is. So Merckx, excellent time from him, a 1:08.7, setting the pole position time in the Mercedes, with Brando Camalengo joining him on the front row. Beyond the board third, with Gotspeed fourth, JP fifth, and Louis sixth. Destiny and Schofield are seventh and eighth, with Jack ninth and Alex 10th. Faz 11th, Sydney 12th, Gattuso 13th, Ashtube 14th, Dip in 15th, Ivan 16th, Kaza 17th, Ryan 18th, and Joe Hamster, unfortunately, crashing out early doors. So, yeah, we don't really know Joe's true pace around this track. It could be a lot better than obviously his starting position.
Yeah, and
Wow.
look at the weather we have. It's a typical Canadian Grand Prix.
This is the rain we were promised yesterday in Tier 2 that never turned up. So, yeah, it's a very dreary conditions, and this track is slippy at the best of times. I mean, you may find actually in these conditions it might actually be a bit more predictable, but yeah, it's going to be a bit of a spanner in the works, and interesting to know exactly how that's affected people's sort of setup changes for qualifying, and how that's you know, how have they gone for wet setups, or is it going to dry out? We don't really know. But yeah, we're going to find out in the next sort of 3/4 an hour, I think.
Yeah, and it was something obviously Ren speaking in the chat was obviously the strategy for the race, saying that a two-stop was viable, or at least maybe the preferred one. Obviously, we know the two-stop will work as long as you don't speed in the pit lane. I mean, in the dry, the two-stop was viable, and now with the rain, you're definitely looking at a one-stop race.
Yeah, well, we have, we have seen it, haven't we? Where there's potential to go all the way on one set of tires, but yeah, I think the change of tires is preferred definitely. Yeah, it's a shame really because it does take out that strategic part of the race. But then, as you say, you never know; it may dry up towards the end. But this does look pretty set in, doesn't it? And there's very little evidence of blue sky anywhere in the distance. So yeah, it would be interesting to know if anyone is in the race and can let us know what we're to expect.
Well, Keza's our normal weather minion, as we like to call them. Xerox, welcome to the Tier 1 stream for the Canadian Grand Prix. This is the Invictus Racing League Tier 1, round number 7 from the Canadian Grand Prix, and it's a very wet Canadian Grand Prix. As you can see in the garages, full wet tyres, so if this was real life, we'd be starting behind a safety car.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, it's clearly too wet for wets. So yeah, they are pretty much just display tyres normally in real life. But luckily, this isn't real life. So yeah, fingers crossed. We can get underway, get a good race. But yeah, that we were saying last night, we were thinking multiple safety cars were potential. But in the end, we just had the one VSC, wasn't it, last night? So yeah, we'll be interested to see how different that is tonight in Tier 1.
Yeah, I think obviously last night, due to the drier race, I mean, even though it was slippy conditions, we had very minimal sort of accidents into walls and stuff. Whereas obviously with the rain, we don't really know what's going to happen in terms of the levels of grip. I mean, the rain could just make it even worse. And obviously round here, obviously if someone goes into the wall, there's a high percentage chance of the safety car being called because of trying to get it recovered.
Yes, yeah, no, exactly. And you'd have to think with 19 cars on track in these conditions, I think the odd incident is kind of inevitable. And yeah, be interesting to see exactly what happens. I mean, the VSC we had last night, no one actually really knows what it was for. It sort of came out and no one had seemed to have actually gone off anywhere. But yeah, it's quite likely, isn't it, tonight? And yeah, it gives you people a chance, I guess, if you do want to make that stop for fresh tyres, you know, fresh inters or wets, or maybe if it does start to clear up a bit, that you can change the inters, then it does give you that option to get a cheaper pit stop. So yeah, there's still a little bit of strategy involved, but and in fact, when I say a little bit of strategy, we've kind of got a bit of a split with inters and wets on the grid.
Yeah, Merckx, Brando, Scopefielder, Sydney and Dip all taking the risk and the flyer on intermediates. Now, what that kind of says to me is potentially this rain isn't going to be this heavy for that long, as Merc goes off at the first chicane, maybe displaying just how wet it really is. But if they're thinking that the rain within a 3-4 laps is going to be sort of starting to subside, then the Inters may start to come into their own, and they'll almost be like a pit stop ahead.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's. I guess the question is if the Inters aren't the best tyre to be on right now, has Merckx, I think, go straight on again at the next one, just trying to get his bearings with the grip. But yeah, it's whether or not the wet runners get enough of a lead that they can sort of change tyres to the Inters and actually not lose any more time to the guys who have started on the Inters. So yeah, it could be interesting to see how this pans out. Yeah, it's all, they always say, don't you, to be on the right tyre at all times. So, yeah, it could be a bit of a risk, but these guys, I'm sure they know what they're doing.
And it's interesting to see that all the drivers that are on Inters are split strategy with their teammates. You look at the Red Bull camp, I know Brandon got speak to each other, and obviously they've decided on different approaches to this Grand Prix. So it's another interesting aspect, is that normally you'd see teams going on the same strategy because they think they're right.
Yeah, definitely. There's splits throughout teams, isn't there, as well, as you say. So yeah, we're about to get going for the race, and this could be a pretty chaotic one. We're waiting for Joe, who is all over the last chicane at the moment, but yeah, here he comes up to just join the back. He's struggling with grip himself. So yeah, over to JPH. We're about to get going.
So Joe Hamster pulls into his grid slot. Merck has a nice angle on from pole position. The question is, who's going to get the best getaway? Will it be the wet runners or the Inters? We're going to have the 5 red lights. And we are racing here at the Canadian Grand Prix. It's a good start from Merck. He's got an absolute hell of a launch. But Bjorn de Boer puts it up into second place, into the lead for Bjorn de Boer in that second phase of the start. We got spooked up into second. The intermediate runners are instantly struggling for grip as we head through turns 1 and 2. Into 3 and 4 we go. It is Bjorn de Boer, Merck and Brando down to 4th and 5th respectively. Scopefielder in 9th. We got JP and Faz side by side. Louis and Jack side by side as well. As we head through 5, up towards 6 and 7 we go. Louis, that looked a bit interesting in the background. A car nearly in the wall at Lance Stroll's area. Faz and JP still side by side. They're still scrapping out, and here it comes. Schofield down the middle. That's not going to end well, and there is a big collision. There's going to be damage. And Keza, I think, is running to the back of them. We have a virtual safety car. Ashtube and Keza are out, and I think that's because they had nowhere to go and ended up in the back of that incident. And it wouldn't surprise me if this virtual safety car gets upgraded into a full safety car, and I can see the dot already. We're going to have a full safety car on lap 1 of the Canadian Grand Prix.
Yeah, it all got a bit bunched up towards the back there. Faz ended up in the middle, kind of almost got sandwiched. He had a car on the outside of him as well as one on the inside. I don't think he could really do a lot about it. The car on the inside just drifted out, and yeah, 3 into 1 really didn't go. And yeah, a bit of a shame there for Ashtube and Keza so early to be out of the race. But yeah, other than that, just the usual sort of bunching up really on the corners. It was tough trying to go side by side through 1 and 2. Sydney did clip the wall on his own accord, but has managed to avoid damage seemingly. So it'd be interesting to see now whether the likes of Dip sort of retracts on his Inters and comes in the pits. A few people are coming in, but that's probably for damage. Dip's staying out, so obviously feeling the Inters are maybe still the right tyre to be on.
Oh, and Faz has just been given a 10-second penalty for a severe collision with Sydney, I guess on the way into the pits. It's very easy when you've got a car ahead of you to outbrake yourself and go into the back of another car, but I don't know if that may have also given Sydney a time penalty as well, because he's just had to serve one as he goes on to the wets.
Yeah, Sydney's got a penalty. Ryan obviously with his penalty, and Faz has a penalty. Sydney served his, as you say. I think Sydney might have actually been for maybe an incident on track. Perhaps he was caught up in that carnage there. Faz is the only one that still has a 10-second penalty, so it would make sense for him to potentially come in again at the end of this lap just to clear it. He's in 14th anyway, so he's only going to lose a few places from doing so, but would make sense to clear that 10-second penalty. And interestingly, I think a few more people have, I don't know, it's a couple more people maybe gone to Inters now, but seriously struggling for grip. It's hard to see exactly when these inters are going to come into the ring.
Yeah, Faz and JP going on to the inters. Obviously, as we say, we probably expect Faz back into the pits. For anyone who's just joined, this is not a virtual safety car. This is a full safety car. It just hasn't updated in the top left corner. But we saw the intermediate runners struggle a lot going through those first few corners. And in reality, I think the likes of Merckx and Brando probably quite grateful of a couple of laps of reprieve. And obviously, because the laps are longer, it should, if we're expecting lighter rain, bring that in sooner effectively into this race.
Yeah, definitely. But as we said before, they're seriously struggling for any sort of grip. As you said, will probably help them out a little bit. We've got a couple more people in the pits. Faz coming in the pits, I think, to serve his 10-second penalty. It looks like Sydney and Ryan continuing round. So, yeah, just Faz getting rid of his penalty, changing to another set of inters because why not? And yeah, I'm hoping we'll be able to get going again at the end of this lap.
Yeah, Kez in chat saying what were him and Astrid meant to do. I think, unfortunately, I guess it's kind of a bit of a curse of when you don't quite get qualifying right, you're at the back of the grid and something ahead of you happens. Sometimes it's just wrong place, wrong time. It's very, very hard to avoid something that's going on ahead of you.
Yeah, definitely. It can happen, unfortunately. It happens in motorsport, doesn't it? You just are, as you say, in that wrong place. And yeah, big shame that it's resulted in sort of terminal damage for the two of them. Watching Faz trying to catch up now with the pack, he's on these inters and the back end is all over the place from trying to get on with it and catch up with the back of the pack. It's going to be hard pushed. I don't know whether or not because he's so far back, the safety car may stay out another lap anyway.
You have to think, though, when we do get the restart, it's going to be vital for Merckx and Brando to get a good restart, because otherwise they've got the likes of Louis, Jack, Alex behind them on the wet tyres. If Beyond the Boa goes at the wrong time for them, as Gattuso's hit dip.
And Louis coming to pits. Louis has come in the pits, maybe to go to inters. Maybe he's feeling he needs the inters now. The wets are not good enough, and I think he's done that. But yeah. Big shame there for Gattuso getting that 10-second penalty. I think he should be able to serve here now. But yeah, Louis cycled to the back of the pack. Obviously feeling that actually in the long run, that's the better choice.
Yeah, a bit of a surprise considering the grip difference, and it doesn't really look like the rain has eased off at all. So unless they are thinking sort of the same as we are, Bruce, that with the safety car, the light rain is going to come a lot sooner, and you might only have to suffer 1 or 2 laps of pain rather than the potential of having 6, 7, or 8.
Yeah, definitely. There's obviously something going on with the weather for them to be, risking this. Finds himself now, like you say, right at the back of the pack. Gattuso now has to catch up. I'd like to think even if Gattuso doesn't catch up, I think the safety car will come in at the end of this lap. Whereas this could be a long safety car if everyone keeps pitting every lap, one random person at a time. Could be here a while, but yeah, and there we go, safety car in this lap. So it's going to be tough for Gattuso to catch up. Joe Hamster, worth noting, from 19th up to 10th.
Yeah, it's a good start from the Ferrari driver. He's had a bit of a tough season as Joe Hamster. He's not been able to make all the races, and the races he has made, it's fair to say he's been given not quite the luck that he was looking for. But Beyond the Boa isn't exactly slowing the pack down like you would normally expect on a safety car restart. And I think that might be because obviously the safety car coming into the pits, it takes a lot less time for that to happen. And he now goes on the exit of the chicane, well actually just after. It's not a great restart though. He's got Gospook right on his tail coming up towards turn number 1. But Gospook not close enough to warrant making a move. And we're all line astern in the wet here in Canada. Normally these restarts are a little bit hectic as Jack is looking at the back of Brando up towards 3. Decides better of it. He knows that's not really the best overtaking opportunity in these conditions. Sydney has got past JP. And Joe Hamster has got past Ivan.
Oh, Faz round in the wall. front wing damage, but manages to avoid ripping the wheel off. Still continues.
Good stuff for Fazan, just about staying in the race. But Brando Camalengo is under increasing pressure from Jack here. And Merck already, oh, that's a bit of a slide from Alex in the background in the RB. Keeps it going though. But it's worth noting, Merck already a second behind Destiny here. So the Inter's really not working in this opening lap on the restart. But somehow Brando is finding a way of staying in front of the Haas.
Yeah, definitely. You'd have to feel maybe the Haas is slightly quicker at the moment though, but just unable to get past. It can be quite tricky to make moves in these conditions without a mistake from the car in front. Joe Hampson out to 9th place, so he's flying along in that Ferrari. He's looking incredibly rapid in these conditions. Beyond the Bourse, that's fastest lap. That's pretty much because that is, I think, the first actual flying lap almost we've done. But yeah, as you say, Linus Stern at the start, no one really managed to get the jump on anyone else.
This is going to be an interesting battle. Louis on the Inters against Ryan on the wets. Gattuso back in the pits. It looks like he's going for the Jensen Button record of coming through the pit lane and still winning.
Jack just kissing the wall there as well, but a very gentle touch, so no damage for him. Does look like the Inters are starting to enjoy themselves a bit more. Jack again running wide into the wall. It's a struggle, but Merck is sort of holding that gap to the car in front fairly well at the moment.
I think the biggest thing for the Inters, I mean, the rain does look like it's eased off a little bit there. You can see it's a little bit slower in the drops of rain. It's not quite as hard and concentrated. But the biggest problem here for the Inters is they can't go off the line yet. They almost have to stay on the racing line. If they step off of that, the wets obviously just eat them alive. So it's almost like going onto slicks with a single dry line.
Yeah, definitely. At the moment, Ryan currently all over the back of JP. JP struggling on these intermediates at the moment. Ryan just can't get the move done into the final chicane, but there's a lot of side-by-side action with these few guys at the back. But now,
well, not a good exit from Ryan at the chicane. It's going to allow Louis a run. Side by side, are we down towards? Yes, we are. We're going to have an overtake here. Louis drafts himself into 14th, and he's going to. This is almost like the start of the recovery for Louis. After that early pit stop under the safety car.
Exactly. Destiny, first person to pick up a 3-second penalty. This could be the start of the floodgates opening now for penalties. But yeah, that's a very early in the race to get those 3 seconds. But yeah, fingers crossed he can make use of his pace and hopefully it won't disadvantage him too much come the end of the race. Brando all over Merckx coming down to the hairpin.
He's going to look to the outside. Merckx defends. And in reality, this is not what these two need to be doing here, because they're just going to cost themselves time. When in reality, they need to be staying close to those ahead as Sydney goes down the inside of Ivan at the hairpin. Now Ivan fighting back as he gets the better traction and behind. I think we got Louis and JP or JP and Dip almost going side by side. Beyond a Boa in the pits, as is Destiny. So it looks like the change to Inters is now. Merckx was 4 seconds behind Beyond a Boa before that pit stop.
Yeah, and this is the thing now, I guess, with them gambling on the intermediates, with people on the wets now changing Inters. You know, even though the Inters of the new guys are going to be a lot newer, I think the pace advantage isn't going to be massive just yet. It's whether or not they feel they can take those tyres all the way to the end now, so laps 35. The guys that are now pitting for the Inters at the moment.
It's going to be interesting, and you can see now the Inters are definitely the tyre to be on, because Merckx is slowly chipping away at the gap to Got Spooked. It's just gone back up to 3 seconds, but you can see there it's now 2.6, 2.5, so that says to me Spooked is struggling a little bit with traction out of corners. And you can see the rain, it's more like a very light rain now rather than a downpour.
Yeah, definitely. It is 100% easing a little bit. Beyond the Boar struggling now. He's stuck behind this gaggle of cars in front, which goes pretty much all the way up to probably Ivan, I reckon, there. trying to find a way past Louis. Louis is actually only on 4.5 hold into, so really, you'd have to think that him and Bjorn at the moment, this is a genuine fight for position, and that they could, they're on a very similar strategy right now.
Yeah, we've got more people in the pits. Spooked has come in, Jack has come in, Sydney is in. And so more runners going to the Inters. Joe Hamster and Ivan, the only two I think now. I think obviously Gattuso may come in at the end of this lap. JP picks up 3 seconds worth of penalties. But Joe and Ivan, the only ones staying out on the wets for now. And you just get the feeling that might be a mistake.
Yeah,
that's a big slide for Joe.
Really, you're kind of thinking that Joe and Ivan may be staying out hoping for a safety car, because I think if a safety car comes in, everyone's going to come in and put on a new set of Inters, and then they'd be in a really good position. Sydney now with 3 seconds as well, so as I said before, the floodgates are now open for penalties, and this is going to be crucial, I think, in these conditions especially, to try and get your nose clean with everyone around you. Dip now up to 6th after a pretty inauspicious start, and he's now
under
in an
attack.
Position.
Under attack from Louis though, into the hairpin. Louis down the inside. A tap on Ivan. They get away with it, and Ivan positioning the car well to make sure none of them get a run, and almost a bit of contact between Dip and not quite sure what happened there, but that's allowed Bjorn de Boer up into 7th, past JP and Louis. And got spooked, going side by side with Louis through the final chicane. You don't want to be doing that in these conditions. I mean, you barely want to be doing that in the dry.
Yeah, Louis backing off, I think, got spooked by. I don't think he really did an awful lot wrong there. I mean, it's not really a place you can go side by side through, and Louis was down the inside there. The incident at the hairpin looked like it needed one person to just back out of it, and unfortunately, with the 4 cars that were there, absolutely no one backed out of it, and nearly had a ginormous crash there, but fortunately, everyone getting away with it.
Bjorn de Boer up into 5th place now on his 2-lap old intermediate tyres, and this is perfect for him because it means he can get away from the likes of Dip, JP, Spooked, Destiny and Louis, start building that gap to those that are in his race at the moment. But Joe Hamster and Ivan creating one of the world's biggest buses, I think, on an F1 circuit.
Yeah, definitely. I can move here from Dip on Ivan as well. Alex now with 3 seconds. There's a little bit of contact under braking. Got spooked, sends it down the inside of JP. Is he going to get the run here? You'd have to think he's going to get the run on Ivan, although Ivan's going to have some good straight line speed here. Merck setting fastest lap after fastest lap with Brando right behind him, but a huge gap back then to Scopefielder in 3rd.
It'll be interesting as Dip now picks up 3 seconds. It'll be interesting to see if Bjorn de Boer can get past Joe Hamster here. He's looking down the inside, thinks better of it. But it does make you wonder, once he gets past Joe, what sort of pace is he going to have on those newer Inters? There's got Spooks and Ivan side by side through 2. Spooks should have better traction, yes he does, on the outside with those intermediates. And he's up into 7th. Ivan's next defensive as Louis now picks up 3 seconds and has a huge twitch coming out of 4. JP almost looking down the inside, and Destiny trying to go around the outside, doesn't quite work. Here comes Louis picking up the pieces. He had a bit of a slide through 7, but it looks like he's managed to hold it, keep it around the outside of the RB, and up into 10th goes Louis.
Yeah, as you say, a little bit sideways there from Destiny, almost straightened himself up with the aid of Louis' Ferrari. But yeah, just close racing there. Difficult to get your traction down when you've lost a bit of momentum out of that corner as well. But yeah, as I say, the penalties are starting to pile up now. It's going to make a huge difference in the race at the end. But yeah, Ivan and Joe, I mean, Joe's doing an excellent job of holding on right now to this 5th place. But you'd have to feel it's only a moment of time. I think Dip here looking to get past him. Can they go side by side?
Contact between Ivan and Destiny coming up towards the final chicane. Joe picks up 3 seconds. A little bit unnecessary contact as well, if I'm completely honest.
3 wide.
It's almost 3 wide into turn 1. You've got Spook, Joe Hamster, and Dip on the inside, looking to get the traction to get up into 5th place in the Williams. Can he hold it to the inside? Yes, he can. He's going to have the apex for 3 and 4.
Big slide from JP.
The rain causing us a great little bit of action, especially with the difference in tyres at the moment. Obviously, Joe Hamster and Ivan have not pitted off of their wet tyres, and I think Ivan's now got Jack behind him. The problem is the Ivan and Joe are starting to drop like lead balloons down the standings.
Yeah, definitely. It'd be interesting to see if Joe lets Louis through a jack now with 3 seconds.
Oh, collision
Wow.
with him and Ivan. Ivan round. Amazingly, no one has DNF'd on that one. It looked like Ivan maybe just lost a little bit of traction because Jack was very much alongside him, even though he's on the outside for 9. He was alongside and just a little bit of contact, almost like Ivan just squeezed him into the wall. We have a pit stop from Got Spooked, so I can only imagine he's picked up some more damage. He is changing that front wing. Onto mediums.
Yeah, I was looking at this thinking, it does look like it's calming down a bit, the weather, and it does look like even now the intermediate tyre runners are struggling with grip. So, I mean, maybe this is what Joe's doing in the Ferrari. He's just trying to stick this out so they can go to slicks. Be interested to see now exactly as Joe is really struggling with his car. And oh my word, I mean, he's just getting in Louis' way now. Really, team-wise, you'd think he'd just get out of the way of his teammate, but at the moment he's just basically driving like Colin McRae in front of him. But there goes Louis. But yeah, just trying to stick it out. I'd be interested to see what Got Spook can now do on these slick tyres.
So as Colin McHamster goes wide and picks up another 3 seconds, I think that's now 6 for him. At the front, Merck is leading by 8/10 to Brando Camalengo. Scopefielder 12 seconds behind that, but he is getting caught by Bjorn de Boer at 1.2 behind the Alpine. Obviously, Bjorn finds himself about 14 seconds behind the leader of Merck. And DRS is enabled. The stewards and race control are happy that it is dry enough to have the DRS open.
So yeah, Joe now taking that opportunity to come into the pits for what I assume will be a set of maybe medium, maybe even hards at this point. He's going for the hard tyres, which that will definitely get him to the end of the race. Going to be tricky at first. So watching Got Spooked on his mediums, he is struggling a little bit for grip, but managing to keep it in a straight line. And dare I say it, looking like it's a lot easier to control than the wets and maybe even the inters.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Joe, Sydney and Ryan all coming in for hard tyres, which they will go to the end. Oh, as Spooked has a massive sideways moment coming through too. They will go to the end, however, the warm-up phase, normally it takes the hards about a lap and a half to 2 laps. It might take them upwards of 3 laps to get those up to temperature due to the colder conditions.
Yeah, definitely. As you say, the wet surface isn't going to help them at all. As here we go, Merck now in the pits. Brando Camalengo gets a 3-second penalty, but continues on for another lap. So, yeah, interesting decision from Brando. I'm surprised he didn't actually just follow Merck because he was showing excellent pace. Maybe feed on him. I mean, he has just set the fastest lap, 1:17.2.
Ivan picks up 3 seconds. Bjorn de Boer up now into 2nd place as he overtakes Scopefielder.
Keep an eye on Got Spooked a minute. He's just coming down the final straight. 1:17.2 is what Brando's just set. Interesting to see whether or not the mediums have Got Spooked are going to get anywhere near that.
I do wonder with Brando whether he's thinking, has Got Spooked has a huge slide. And Joe Hamster, I think that's now 9 seconds worth of penalties for Colin McHamster.
So interestingly, it still looks like Brando on the inters a faster lap than Got Spooked there. So still, maybe the inters not actually a bad choice. You could actually see a potential overcut here from the Red Bull of Brando.
Yeah, I was going to say, obviously, in previous generations of the game, I mean, I know myself and you have benefited from this, where we've actually gone 1 or 2 laps longer on the inters whilst the track is still drying. Because obviously they're still going to be warm in comparison to the slick tyres. Brando does come in, so it's going to be a 1 lap overcut, but that 1 lap of heated tyres could, give him the advantage in terms of gaining position on track. Beyond the Bow is in, as is Scopefielder. Brando, however, going to the hard tyres.
Yeah, so Merck is going to come out in front of him. Faz now with a 3-second penalty is lighting up like a black and white Christmas tree at the moment on the left-hand side of my screen. But I mean, we've only got three drivers now, Merc, Beyond and Scopebuilder, who don't have 3-second penalties. So good effort from them so far. But yeah, Merc now on the mediums. I mean, it's going to be a hard push to get them to the end and be competitive, but you have to think Brando's on probably the better tyre in the long run, but maybe, as you say, these first few laps, it's going to be difficult.
Side by side between got Spooked and Destiny, and Spooked got loose. Ryan is out. Where has he gone? Out there.
Might be in the.
Is it a pit lane?
Is it pit lane retirement?
Okay, I thought potentially he'd been. And Louis come back in the pits and got himself a set of hearts. So this race has not gone to plan for the Ferrari driver, who qualified in fourth, I think it was. Shame for Ryan, really. That and I think Louis has just spun, yeah.
And he has definitely lost his front right end plate, so that's going to be a bit of a disaster around this. You need good downforce around the circuit, so he's going to have to come in the pits. Gattuso now catching up the back with him. So yeah, as you say, this race has not gone well for Louis tonight. But you know, if he can get in quick, he's going to go a lap down. I think actually the Ferrari driver.
Yeah, he's not got a lot of time. He's also now got Gattuso on the back of him. He may well not have much of a choice if that front end is not
oh, there's on his roof on my screen. JP is on his roof. Oh no, he's disconnected. I think that was a disconnect issue, but on my screen he was upside down, which was very interesting. But he has, unfortunately, has left the session, it seems.
Yeah, I don't know if you've got JP91 to just send him an invite.
I got very excited then when I saw him on his roof. That's very unusual. I've never seen that. I've not seen that before on this game. So yeah, there we go.
Meanwhile, Dip and Destiny. JP is back in, which is good to see. Yeah, Destiny and Spooked very, very close, practically pushing. Not Spooked, sorry, Destiny and Dip. Dip practically being pushed by Destiny through the chicane. Down the inside goes the RB, which is a big surprise to me because Destiny's on hards, Dip's on mediums.
Yeah, definitely a Matt Neal touring car special there from Destiny, it seems, coming into such a game. But yeah, as you say, surprising, you know, with Dip being on those mediums. I don't know what the tyre life is. Yes, yeah, really, Dip should have the advantage, but maybe just not feeling comfortable in these drying conditions.
Yeah, I've just seen a comment from Renz, which is quite funny. He's put on there, if in doubt, when in doubt, I must stay out. Colin McHam.
Got JP out.
Is that a crash on retirement?
No, I think he may have maybe disconnected again, and the game has auto DNF'd him from the race, unfortunately. So yeah, after just getting back into the car, it seems as though I think the connection has severed once again.
It is one of the things that probably needs to be fixed by the game, in that there's no point having a rejoin function if your AI is just going to call it quits on you. So not an ideal situation for JP. Again, another driver who's got a lot of pace has got spooked down the inside of Dip, and he'll make that work for 6th place. But yeah, JP, another driver with lots of pace and not a lot of luck at the moment.
Yeah, definitely the luck is not followed. JP now rejoined, but obviously he's going to find that his car has been retired from the race. So yeah, big shame for him. As you say, just no luck really for the Mercedes driver at the moment. But yeah, still Scopebuilder beyond the ball and Merc with no penalties. Got now the fastest lap up to 5th down the inside of Destiny. So he's making a serious move on at the moment.
Well, a little tap from Destiny though, and it's opened the gap up for him to go down the inside at 3 and 4. Can't quite get the move done. Might get a good run though, out to 4. Does get a run, but can't find the gap.
Got spooked. I think Destiny. There you go. Destiny with another 3-second penalty. Didn't really sort of go over the curb that much, but enough. And Joe Hamster picks up another 3 seconds. So going for some sort of world record there as the Ferrari driver.
Let's just have a little look at penalties. That's interesting on hard. I'm guessing a lot of battery used maybe for that one.
Moved into the 15s now, so I think the track is drying very, very rapidly.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And just looking at the penalties, we've got 3 seconds for Brando, Dip, Jack, Sydney, Alex, Faz, Ivan, and Gattuso. 6 seconds for Spooked, Destiny, and Louis. And the mighty Hamster has got 15 seconds worth of penalties. Oh, and there was a collision between Sydney and Joe Hamster. Sydney picked up another 3 seconds. And the next I saw, there was a little bit of contact, and Joe Hamster was sideways across the circuit.
Yeah, has front wing damage as well on that Ferrari. Both end plates missing off the front of that car. So yeah, this is a pretty chaotic period of the race for Joe Hamster.
Might be rapid down the straight now with a little bit less drag. But we do continue. Destiny just behind got Spooked, and we've also got Alex approaching Joe Hamster. Unsurprising, sends it down the inside and kind of pushes Joe Hamster off. Why I would have thought he should probably give that place back, even though as Louis picks up 10 seconds for ignoring blue flags. Which means he's passed 3 marshals posts without getting out of Beyond the Bow's way. And it looks like Alex
Got a huge slide out of the final chicane. He's really pushing this Red Bull. I think Brandon coming with another 3-second penalty there for him, so not ideal. Got to really pushing the car. I think he's trying to get away from Destiny as much as he can, but that DRS is keeping Destiny and Dip in the frame.
Joe and Alex. Joe picks up another 3 seconds. That's 18 for him on total. Nearly more collision between Joe Hamster and Alex as we headed towards turn number 1. Obviously, this is for 3 points at the moment, and a place in the top 10. Alex, oh, Joe in the wall. How has he not ripped the wheel off? He's taken the front wing clean off. We now have a safety car.
Yeah, there looked to be, and there's a Sydney going slow, and Sydney all over the place. Oh, that was close between Joe and Sydney. Yeah, there seemed to be some sort of connection thing though with Alex and Joe. They were all, Joe gets a drive through on the safety car, so for speeding on the safety car, sorry. So yeah, not going very well at all for him. He's trying to let Sydney pass, but obviously, yeah,
He won't let him.
He won't let him. So, yeah, pretty chaotic stuff there.
Instantly, we have everyone in the pits. Not surprising for a new set of mediums. And this is not what Brando needs. Not when Bjorn and Schofielder don't have any penalties.
No, interestingly, so Bjorn and Brando
Joe's just picked up another drive-through.
And has retired. So yeah, I'm not surprised he that was accumulating somewhat, wasn't it? But Moat and Brando have been picked up by the safety car. Did they manage to change tyres then?
Yes, they have. They're on fresh mediums, yeah.
I wasn't sure then for a second whether or not they've been done over a little bit there, but so yeah, this does make it quite interesting now, especially with Brando having that 6-second penalty. Yeah, Bjorn de Boer is going to want to get past Brando and get on the attack on Merck as quickly as he possibly can. But yeah, it should be interesting.
The other side of this for Bjorn de Boer is that in reality Brando's going to want to get past Merck and get off up the road. So it's whether he potentially, not necessarily doesn't fight them, but almost lets them try and create their own chaos and wait maybe a couple laps just to see if anything comes of it before maybe attempting some moves.
Yeah, no, that is true. Yeah, I mean, there's a few factors involved in this, isn't there, at the moment? But yeah, you'd have to feel at the moment for the likes of Scopefielder as well. He's looking in a very good position on the basis of just not having a penalty at the moment. You know, he can drop a bit behind Brando and still come out with a podium, which I think for the Alpine driver, he'd be absolutely delighted with that.
One thing I was surprised about is that Louis didn't stay out. Because he's a lap down in the pack.
Yeah, he would have cycled then, wouldn't he, in front of everyone? Could have rejoined the queue and then maybe taken his 10-second penalty. At least he'd have been on the lead lap then. But yeah, obviously, as you say, that's dropped him now back to a lap down. Yeah, maybe one of those hindsight things, really, not quite thinking it through there. But yeah, was a good chance to get back on the lead lap.
Although I must admit, he is on 2 lap on mediums. Although he was a lap down. I was like trying to work out exactly sort of when he may have pitted, but that was under the safety car. I'm gonna guess it was because being a lap down, it would have counted 2 laps for his tyres. So
yeah, unless he was far enough behind Mert, because he did get overlapped quite a while ago. But with the safety car, he still just didn't come back out in front of them. But yeah, shame really for Louis, obviously being that lap down. But yeah, he is only 2 places away and 2 retirements away from getting a point. So not out of it completely.
no, exactly. You never give up in these races. There's always a chance. I mean, as we've seen, we have 5 non-finishers tonight. 2 from a crash, a couple from pit lane retirements, and JP being about as unlucky as JP gets, with JP Bot deciding he didn't fancy racing at Canada anymore.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, big shame, as you say. He's showing good pace really throughout the race. Obviously, he had a few issues with maybe not being on the right tyres at times and whatnot. But yeah, yeah, it's one of those things. Unfortunately, it can happen to any of us. I mean, I personally got ejected out of the game last night. Luckily, managed to get back in before race start, but it could have easily have done the same to me. And it's, as you say, just a shame that the glitch is in the game where it can do that.
As we carry on here, you have to think this will be the last lap under safety car. We are going to get 9 laps of racing, I'd have thought. And everyone, it's basically, you might as well just reset everything. Everyone's got nine laps. It's a sprint race, basically, to the end.
Yep, pretty much. It's I'd say the penalties are going to make it a little less straightforward than just a complete straight race, but everyone's going to be fighting as though they have no penalties on that board. And yeah, here we go, safety car in this lap. Be interested to see what Mert does on the restart. Beyond the board, a slightly unusual restart last time, I feel, but yeah, Mert will be interested to see exactly what he does now.
So there's just a little epilepsy warning there from the safety car light in the top left. Nothing we can do about that, but it's having a disco. And this is a bit more like a restart that I was expecting at this when Bjorn de Boer was leading us off on the restart. Just slow everything down, allow the safety car to get up, then go when you desire, which I'm going to guess for Merck could well be before the chicane. And there we go. And that is a very good restart, half a second already. And that's going to extend as he gets a good run out of the chicane. Dip gets 3 more seconds on the restart. But it's a good restart from Mert, and it's going to allow Bjorn de Boer a little bit of a chance to get at Brando before Brando then catches back up with Mert once we hit the DRS area.
Yeah, Louis doing his best just to get out of everyone's way at the moment. He's doing pretty much all he can. Side-by-side action there just up ahead. And unsurprisingly, he's got Spooked involved in it all once again. He's having a pretty eventful race tonight as he tries to go around the outside of Sydney.
Faz and Alex were also quite close. Faz looking down the inside of Alex, couldn't quite get it done. Spooked up into 8th place for now. He's on the recovery. And Brando's outside 1 second, which is not ideal when DRS will come active next time around.
Mert with a very good restart there. Kind of caught people napping. A lot of people further down the order as well found themselves in awkward positions, like in a rev range as everyone else took off in front of them. But luckily, a clean restart. No dramatic incidents at all. But yeah, looking good for Mert at the moment. He's got that gap, hasn't he?
Fast to the inside of Alex into the final chicane. Good move from the Williams. It forces the RB. Say forces, and it was a fair move from Faz. Alex having to take to the runoff. Gattuso now going to get past. It's 3 places lost for Alex in the space of 3 corners.
Yeah, big shame for the racing ball driver. Did his best then to follow threat, has got spooked, picks up another 3-second penalty. Yeah, Alex did his best to rejoin Rain the Bollard, but I think it was almost impossible from where he was. But yeah, this is I was beyond the ball into second.
Yeah, DRS assisted. Obviously, Brando doesn't have any DRS, and this is the thing for Bjorn: is can he now break past Brando and close that gap to Merck? He's going to have to use a bit of ERS to do it, but as we know, once you're in DRS, you can save ERS quite efficiently. But he's going to have to fend off Brando now, who's going to have the DRS for the next 2 zones.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be hard work here. I think for Bjorn to catch Merck, I think the best way. Oh, that Brando in the wall.
I was looking at Destiny behind because he overtook Schofield and had a bit of a moment through the chicane.
Yeah, pretty sure Brando just nudged the wall on the exit there of the chicane.
Oh, collision between Alex and Gattuso. Louis involved as he T-bones the Alpine as he spins. Luckily, no fatalities in terms of the cars. They can all get going, just some wing damage.
Yeah, Scoopfield are down to 5th now from where he was, but he doesn't have to worry too much because the 2 guys in front of him both have 6 seconds worth of penalties. As long as he can keep that gap to them, then he'll be looking pretty good for a podium. And as I said before, he'd be absolutely ecstatic with that. So fingers crossed he can keep that going. But yeah, Louis, just to compound the misery of tonight's race, once again, just getting caught up in something that really couldn't do much about. Got to speak from dipped. Big action here.
Yeah, Godspeed got past Dip and Jack is deciding to tag along. DRS for Spooked and Jack, so big DRS train going on at the moment into the final chicane. Line of stone and everyone just sort of settles themselves out. Brando right on the back of Bjorn, and it must be noted Bjorn is doing a good job here. He's only a tenth and a half behind.
Sorry, big send there from Faz into the side of Jack. Came from a very long way back into turn 1, was never going to happen. I'm quite sure if he was thinking Jack might sort of jump out the car and run away or something there, but yeah, very ambitious from the Williams driver.
So I say, Bjorn's doing a very good job at catching Merckx, and now he's only 8 tenths behind, so he's going to have DRS. That gap was 1.5 at the point that Bjorn got past Brando Camalengo.
Yeah, definitely. This is going to be very interesting now with Destiny as well. It's kind of like a 4-car train now, isn't it, by Merck? But yeah, Bjorn's going to catch right out to the back of him. It'll be interesting to see how Merck's doing with the RS. We know he's pretty good at saving it normally. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he's got in his reserve for when he does finally come under attack, because I think he is going to come under attack at some point. Lots of changes going on down the back straight here in the mid-pack.
Yeah, good racing between Faz and Jack. Faz gets past him, but Jack's got a good run coming out of the chicane. Both of them with DRS because of this little train. Jack down the inside, a little tap, but it's all good, it's all hard and fair racing there. Louis has unfortunately retired, so it's a double DNF for Ferrari tonight. Not ideal for their championship in the constructors, but beyond the Boa, he's like 3 tenths behind Merckx, and now we're looking at overtake territory.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, dip, big slide at the chicane. Managed to hold it, but very lucky for him, or very skillful, one of the two. But yeah, as you say, beyond the door, about to attack Merck now for the race lead, and a legitimate race lead. These two with no penalties, still just these two and Scopefield at the moment, penalty free. But Brando and Destiny are not far behind as well.
Just looking at the steering wheels of Merckx and Bjorn, they tell very different stories in terms of the weapons they have at their disposal. So we won't reveal some percentages, but if you know where to look, you can find out very easily what everyone's got. And here comes Beyond Barrow to the inside of turn 1. This for the lead. Ivan picks up 3 seconds, but we're not interested in that right now. Right on the outside of 2 goes Bjorn. They're still going at it up towards 3. Surely Bjorn can't keep this guy on the outside. Yes, he can. He makes the move through 3 and 4 around the outside. Fantastic driving from the Haas. Good from the pair to not make any contact. And here comes Brando Camalengo. He's looking interested to maybe get past Merckx, but can't quite find that gap. But now can Bjorn keep the Mercedes behind? DRS behind him. And I think Merckx might be smart here. He won't go for it here. He'll go for it on the back straight.
Yeah, definitely. It makes no sense to go for it here. It's always risky as well. There was a bit of action there between Faz again. Faz trying to go down the inside of Jack. Very speculative once again, but ended up with Faz dropping back a bit and Sydney getting between the two of them. But yeah, this is now a four-car battle. At the back, big
Oh,
lock up from Sydney on the
Sydney, yeah,
brakes.
Sydney now down the inside of Jack. Gets a bit of wheel spin and he's going to lose a place to Faz instead. Meanwhile at the front, as we expected, Merc down the back straight. And he's going to get another helping of DRS. And this is possibly where the issue now comes for Bjorn, because obviously with him and Merc fighting, they're going to keep Brando and Destiny in the picture of this fight, even though they're not really in this fight.
Yes, exactly, 100%. Yeah, I mean, you can get penalties.
Oh, Bjorn's gone round. Bjorn lost it. He locked the rears up coming into 3. Got clipped by Brando, who, to be honest, didn't really have much else place to go. I think he's lost an end plate. Has the Haas, but that's going to cost him this win, or the potential win for this one. Very unfortunate, just locking the rears up. And he's going to have got spooked on his tail and probably going to overtake him on that back straight.
Yeah, big shame for the Haas driver there. I think Merck's going to be under threat now, though, again from Brando.
Dip's gone down the order. We got a yellow flag. That's because Dip has hit the wall. We have a safety car.
Oh, wow, this is a very late, very, very late safety car. Maybe a reprieve there for Bjorn de Boer. But yeah, I don't think at this point anyone's going to pit, are they? Realistically, I mean, Gattuso may pit for softs perhaps at the back. You may find a few of them at the back.
We have a train of cars heading for the pits. Got Spooked has decided he's going to stay out and take track position. This is going to be everyone for softs.
Yeah, this is interesting because I was expecting more people to stay out. Who has stayed out?
Got Spooked, Sydney and Ivan have all stayed out. Gattuso has a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. So that's ruined that one.
I mean, really, for Merck, as Gattuso now retires, so we're down to just 12 drivers and everyone's going to score points if they finish. Really, for Merck, it's not really a risky move because he knows the 3 guys there now in front have penalties, so he can just hold station. The only problem is now if he's in that sort of awkward situation where he could get caught up in someone else's incidents. But yeah, interesting decision. I'm surprised they didn't just stick with track position this late in the race.
I'm more surprised about Bjorn going to the pits because he's changed that front wing, which has now put him. Someone just lost an end plate under the safety car. I'm pretty certain I just saw a piece of carbon fibre. I can see an RB without an end plate of Destiny. I just wonder if he's just somehow under safety car lost one of his end plates, which is not the thing I would have done.
It's not ideal, unfortunately for him. I mean, is he going to come in the pits now? Or is he just going to try and deal with it? But yeah, it's interesting to see what he does. He keeps going, so yeah, it feels that he maybe can get away with it for the last couple of laps.
Generally speaking, you're only going to have one set of soft tyres that are brand new. So you don't really want to have to come back into the pits because you have to go on a set of mediums, really. But I'm more surprised that Bjorn didn't stay out because he's changed his front wing and he's now behind Scopefielder down in 8th place. Whereas you maybe get the feeling that potentially he could have held on for a win here because we're going to get 2 racing laps. Only one of those with DRS. And he'd have been at the head of this field.
You'd have to feel now, though, Scopefielder is in a very good position. As long as he can stay within the penalty range of the 5 cars in front, he's looking good for a podium tonight. And that's going to be an incredible result for him. Yeah, this is going to be... It's risky for him. He'll obviously want to get past them, but just needs to be careful, really.
And just an update on the penalty situation. Got Spooked and Sydney both have 9 seconds. Ivan has 6. Brando and Destiny both have 6. Faz, Alex and Jack have 6. And Dip has 9. Merc, Scopefielder, Beyond About, the only ones currently not to have any additional time added to their finish.
Yeah, and we were saying pre-race how important it is to get through this race without penalties, and it is looking like actually the three people who don't have penalties could well be the podium, assuming they don't get up to any nonsense in this next sort of 2 laps before the end of this race. So, yeah, fingers crossed. We hopefully get some exciting racing here right at the end, but hopefully everyone can get through to the finish of the race.
Got Spooked leading the field. The top 3 on mediums, the rest on fresh softs. When does Got Spooked go? Still weaving, still weaving, still waiting. Now he goes, and just like Merckx, he's got the jump on the rest. Half a second as we head through the chicane. Nearly clips over the rear, but he's through in 7/10 to the good. Obviously no overtaking until you get past the start-finish line. And here we go then, 2 laps of the Canadian Grand Prix left. Merckx on the back of Ivan, but Brando is there as well, so he's got to be careful not to have an incident with him. Beyond the Boer is side by side with Faz, so that's not a great restart from him. He's just gone through the grass. Oh, big collision with the RB. Alex does get past, but he's got a broken front wing. So he's gone from bad to worse really for Beyond the Boer, as he's now down in 11th. Ivan gets past Sydney. That's in 2nd on the track at the moment, and Merckx easily drives past.
Oh, blimey.
And it sounds like we've got more chaos in the background as we've got side by side between Brando and Sydney through 8 and 9. Sydney going backwards now as Destiny gets past him.
Yeah, Alex running across the next chicane.
Oh, that's a late dive from the Williams of Faz. He's managed to get himself up into 6th. I couldn't quite get to his car in time because he was moving up as I was going down. But 6th for the Williams for now. Obviously, all of this is going to change because of the penalties that are to come. In the meantime, Destiny and Merckx side by side through the chicane, and Merckx goes across. Didn't look like he looked very hard racing going on here, as now Merckx goes back down the inside of Destiny into turn number 1. Behind them we got Brando and Faz going side by side at each other. Oh, a bit of a collision between Merckx and Brando now as we go through turn 2, and here comes Faz looking ever opportunistic up towards 3. Oh, this could end badly. And that has ended badly for Brando Camelengo and a Haas of Jack. And there's your car upside down, Bruce.
I saw it. I saw the car. I shouldn't laugh, but I saw it. Yeah, a bit late.
And we
in the race.
got 3 wide heading down towards the second chicane between Destiny, Ivan, and Merckx. This is absolute chaos.
Yeah, Merckx, lucky just a minute ago, got a big squeeze on the grass from Ivan, and then nearly got run off the road. And he's just got to be sensible here.
Collision between Ivan and Destiny, and Merckx with a switchback. Lovely move from Merckx. Got spooked. He's 4.5 clear. He's going to come across the line. I'm trying to keep an eye on Got Spooked. So Got Spooked is going to cross the line in first place. He provisionally wins the Canadian Grand Prix. That's a McLaren hitting the wall of champions. Merckx now goes to the top of the timesheet as a skipper. Beyond the Boer, after all of that, picks up 3rd place.
Yeah, incredible. And as I said just before the restart, the three people, I don't know quite how they managed to get there in the end because that was very chaotic. The 3 people who didn't have penalties managed to get the 3 the podium spots. So, yeah, very important as we said. And yeah, a huge accident there at the end. There was a few interesting rejoins and all sorts going on there towards the end of the race. But big shame, obviously, we lost the 2 drivers there at the end in Brando and Jack. But yeah, once again, Merckx just finds a way.
Yeah. Once again, he stayed out of trouble, made sure he wasn't put in any sort of precarious. Well, I say made sure he wasn't put in precarious positions. There was a couple there, especially when he went across the final chicane. But yeah, he's found a way, and we have a different podium again. So the points gap between him and those behind just continues to get bigger.
Yeah, definitely. It's looking pretty rosy at the moment, isn't it, for Merckx, and definitely closing on the title. It would take something pretty spectacular, I think, for him to lose it now. But you know, it's never over till it's over in motorsport. But yeah, here's the race result. So Merckx converting his pole position into first place overall. Scopefield an excellent second place for the Alpine. Beyond the Board third. We've got Spook fourth. Ivan, a great result for him in the Aston in fifth, up from 16th on the grid. Destiny sixth. Faz seventh. Dip eighth. Sydney ninth. Alex 10th. And unfortunately, DNFs for, even though they show us finishing and classified, it's DNFs for Jack, Brando, Gattuso, Louis, Joe, JP, Ryan, Ashtube, and Kaza. So yeah, pretty high DNF rate tonight.
Yes, I mean, and to be fair, that last couple of laps, I mean, I don't really know what more we would have expected through there, because it was 2 laps of people fighting with the same penalty, so a lot of it was still for position.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like there may be some post race incidents to be looked at as well during that. So whether or not the classification changes as well once the stewards have had a look at everything as well. But yeah, as you say, some pretty chaotic stuff, and 2 laps around Canada, there's no room to go, and the racing's pretty hard, and maybe a little bit too hard at times there.
Yeah, we've got Merck joining us in the commentary box for some interviews. I know Scopefielder and Bjorn won't be able to join us, so we have asked for some write-ups. So we will head for, once again, the winner of Tier 1. Merck, congratulations, continuing this perfect form this season. I mean, but that was a little bit scary at the end. It looked scary at the end for you anyway.
Yeah, obviously good to get another win. Yeah, it was obviously hectic at the end because you had loads of people on penalties, which obviously helped me in the end. Yeah, I think it was just a bit chaotic and some questionable driving at the end, but yeah, a win's a win. So yeah, I'm happy.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's another 17 points to your tally. Obviously, we noticed you, like a few others, started on the intermediates. Do you think, looking back, that was obviously at the start of the race, it looked quite difficult, but also like the early safety car kind of saved you guys on those intermediates a little bit, just allowing that sort of light rain to come in essence, earlier in the race.
Yeah, I mean, the safety car definitely helped. I think by the time the safety car ended, it was in as near enough. So yeah, that was a big help. But either way, I think starting on the inters is more beneficial. Um, the pace isn't really that different, to be honest. So yeah, I did the same at Las Vegas. Yeah, it just made sense.
Bruce, do you have any questions for Mert?
Yeah, congrats on another win tonight, mate. We were saying earlier on tonight that you found yourself in a few awkward positions this season, but still managed to sort of somehow find your way to the front, and that you've got a sort of a knack for maybe not just seeing what's just in front of you, but thinking a few laps ahead. But what is the secret of making the way through the carnage and still picking up these race wins week in, week out?
Yeah, it's obviously I've been racing since 2020 and Invictus, so a lot of experience, a lot of races, and yeah, it's just I'm always trying to be as patient as possible. As much as I know I want to get through, yeah, as you say, you've got to think, laps ahead. You can't think about what you're doing now. Um, so yeah, it's just kind of managing the race, kind of making your opponents use more ERS, and most of it's down to strategy more than pace. I wouldn't say I've always been the quickest um, in the race, but just being able to manage everything pretty well um, has given me that advantage.
Yeah, and obviously before that sort of set for the later safety car, obviously you had Bjorn de Boer right behind you, and obviously he was unfortunately he locked the rears going into turn 3, which kind of ended that fight. But before that happened, it looked like you guys were going to have a right old battle. All whilst you had the likes of Brandon Destiny with the penalties behind you also sticking with you. It looked like that was going to be the battle to the end of the race.
Yeah, obviously Bjorn coming in for the last 2, 3 races. Obviously, I've raced with him before, so I know that he's quick, and I knew that he would be getting quicker and quicker as each race goes on. So yeah, no, it's good fight that we had while it lasted. Unfortunately, obviously, he ended up in the wall. But yeah, hopefully we see him again next week and the week after, and with the rest of them as well. It's nice. I like, I'd rather the race be close than be up the road by 10, 15 seconds. It was good while it was there, and yeah, as always, the guys at the front normally, race very well wheel to wheel, and yeah, it's good fun.
Obviously, next week we go to Hungary, which is notorious for being like Monaco, but with the walls a bit further away, and qualifying being oh so important. I mean, it must be good to see. Obviously, your qualifying forms over the last couple of races has come back. Obviously, right up the front on pole position. So that must be quite good news for you heading into a place where qualifying is one of the most vital things around that circuit.
Yeah, obviously Hungary's a very downforce orientated track, so yeah, it's going to be difficult to do any overtakes, and some may go for a bit more top speed heavy setup just to kind of be able to make those chances possible. But yeah, the qualifying is going to be important, definitely more so than many other races. So yeah, hopefully with it being what kind of a short lap as well, hopefully it means that we'll have some good battles throughout the field, and we'll have a good race.
Well, Mert, congratulations once again, 7 out of 7 now. You'll obviously be hoping for another one next week, but only time will tell what will happen there. But congratulations for tonight, and enjoy the victory.
Thank you very much.
A couple of other write-ups. We've got Scopefield. He said he started off the race by copying a massive tactician of Mert with the inters in the full wet conditions, which put him in a decent place when it dried up. He didn't have much pace, but he just focused on not getting penalties since Canada is usually full of them. And then the late safety car that came out, and he didn't bother fighting people with penalties. Chaos in the end with lots of cars fighting, but managed to stay away from the trouble and got rewarded with a nice P2. So congratulations to Scopefield on that. It was a good race by him. And Bjorn de Boer saying quali went well with P3. Thought in the race it would start dry and get wet, but it was the opposite. It was a great start from him. P1 into turn 1. First pit stop to Inters was timed well and everything was good until he spun near the end by braking on the grass and breaking his wing in the meantime. The safety car saved him until he got into an accident 2 times after the restart. So he's quite happy with P3 after all that, so congratulations to Bjorn. But Bruce, obviously next week, Hungary. It's a circuit me and you quite enjoy just because of how tight the times are going to be. The racing's going to be very, very close, but as we've already referred to, overtaking is not the specialty around Hungary, so it's going to mean that all-important qualifying session.
Yeah, exactly. As you say, qualifying massively important right now. Very tight and twisty circuit, very narrow as well. So it kind of has a sort of similar characteristics with the width of the road to Canada. But yeah, normally a high downforce circuit. Overtaking quite tricky. Really only got turn 1 and I think what they class as turn 2, isn't it? I think they class as turn 2 there. But yeah, it's a tricky circuit, as you say, qualifying important, and yeah, it will be interesting to see what sort of weather conditions you get right now, because it's not unusual to get rain in Hungary as well.
No, actually, I think the drivers tonight will be hoping it is a dry race around there instead after the carnage that ensued tonight. But that is all the time we have for Tier 1. So do join us again next week for that. But we do have RP tomorrow, obviously not streamed at the moment, but they are racing around Canada for round 7 of their championship. And then we're back next week for round 8 at Hungary. Obviously on Tuesday you're going to get Tier 2 brought to you by Joe and JP, and myself and Bruce are back on the Wednesday for Tier 1. If you have watched the stream and you have liked it, do give it a like, and obviously do subscribe to the Invictus Racing League YouTube channel to not miss out on any live racing for the rest of this season. And this has been the Invictus Racing League Tier 1 from Canada for round number 7. We hope you've enjoyed tonight, and we look forward to seeing you again next week for the next round of action.